Any day that I get to talk about 2D Metroid is a good day in my book. What is going on, guys? BoTalksGames back again. Today we are talking about some juicy details regarding the next 2D Metroid following 2021's incredible Metroid Dread. This is coming straight from MercurySteam, or a company that owns a big portion of MercurySteam, so I think it's safe to assume that this information is concrete and real and definitely happening, and then of course, as we do here, we'll add our own speculation on it. So this is coming from BoTalksGames. They own a 40% stake in MercurySteam. Safe to assume they would know what they're talking about here. They listed all of the games that their partners are working on, and at the end here, it basically just says this one sentence thing that's going to start off this whole video. MercurySteam worked on 2 large undisclosed titles in regards to them doing that during the 2022 fiscal year, right? So what's interesting, if you don't already know, is that we already know what one of these games is, or at least have some sort of idea what it is. MercurySteam announced it back in 2021 that they were partnering with 505 Games. If you don't know 505, they're the publishers of Control and a bunch of other stuff, but Control is one of the more prominent games, and they're doing Alan Wake 2. They announced they're partnering with them to release a third-person action RPG dark fantasy themed, codenamed Project Iron, with a budget of around $30 million. So a pretty hefty budget for MercurySteam, who typically makes smaller scale games. That one we can assume is not going to be exclusive to any home console or anything. It says PCs and consoles, so I would assume that's coming to everything. But that's all we knew until now. Now that we know they are working on 2 games, we can speculate what that extra game is, and I have to say, it almost certainly, I hope, is Metroid 6. I mean, let's think about it. MercurySteam does not have a super storied history. They made a couple of weird games, American McGee, they made Zombies for the Nokia, and then they basically went straight into working with Konami on the Castlevania Lords of Shadow series, and then right after that, they got in bed with Nintendo and started making Metroid games. They did Samus Returns in 2017, and then now Metroid Dread in 2021 with a couple of their own games in their Space Lords. I think they renamed that, from Raiders of the Broken Planet. Not sure why they did that, but they don't have a ton of history, so I don't think it would make sense for them to be making a new IP with 505 Games and then also just another new IP. It would make more sense from a smaller developer's perspective to make your new IP, your dream IP, right? But then also get your bread and butter, make Metroid with Nintendo. You know it's going to be a success. You know you're going to, pay your bills with that, right? So that, to me, makes a lot of sense. And from Nintendo's side, it also just makes a lot of sense because Metroid Dread is the best-selling Metroid game, at least right now, until Metroid Prime 4 comes out. I assume that would take over Metroid Dread sales. Dread passed over 3 million. Why wouldn't they greenlight MercurySteam to make another Metroid game with Sakamoto overseeing that and Nintendo EPD co-developing with MercurySteam? It'd be weird if they didn't. It'd be very strange if they did not make a 2D follow-up to Dread. I mean, Dread was nominated for Game of the Year, was very critically well-received, best-selling Metroid game. It makes a lot of sense. It might have been kind of the end of that storyline. There's still plenty they can do with Samus, especially now that, spoiler alert, I'm not going to say what it is, but I mean, there's still plenty of stories they can make happen with Samus in a 2D Metroid setting. There's plenty of room to explore there. But another reason that Metroid makes sense to be this game specifically is a rumor from a couple of weeks back that said a Spanish developer currently has switched to dev kits. I'm not expecting this game anytime soon. I think at the earliest it would be maybe 2025. That would give them 4 years if it releases in the holiday. But even then, more realistically, 2026. But either way, if Nintendo is having them work on another 2D Metroid game, it would make sense that they already have switched to dev kits, if those are already out in the wild, if rumors are to be believed, of course. At this point, we're grasping on rumors of other rumors. But if a Spanish developer does have a Switch dev kit, or a Switch 2 dev kit, it would make sense that it is MercurySteam, given that of all Spanish developers, they're the ones Nintendo work with. So I just think this is super interesting and super exciting, and I just have to say, it is a great time to be a Metroid fan. I've seen some people kind of down in the dumps. I get it. It sucks that Metroid Prime 4 hasn't been in the past 2 directs, but you gotta understand, I mean, for the past 6 years, it's honestly been pretty good. I guess if you mostly focus on Prime, it was rough there for a while, because Prime 4 was announced over 6 years ago, but if you look at the release dates, I mean, listen, Federation Force in 2016, we don't talk about that one. I actually haven't played that game. I think it kind of looks fun, but I don't want to use the 3DS controls because it's very, very cumbersome. But in 2017, we got MercurySteam's first Metroid take with Samus Returns, the remake of Metroid 2. And then, yes, there was a very big gap, but we got Metroid Dread in 2021, and then Metroid Prime Remastered in 2023, and it just seems like that train is going to keep rolling with potential remasters or ports of Metroid Prime 2 and 3. We got Metroid Fusion on Switch Online. We'll almost certainly be getting Zero Mission, and then, of course, Prime 4, and then this next 2D Metroid game. I mean, we're maybe going to be getting a Metroid game almost every year. That's awesome. People act like Metroid is this super niche franchise, and I think it is comparatively to what people think it is. I mean, some people, for some reason, think of Metroid when they think of Mario and Zelda. It's not that big, but it sells as well as Xenoblade and Pikmin and Fire Emblem, and these games show up in most directs. Well, maybe not Pikmin, but Xenoblade and Fire Emblem do. My point is, Metroid getting games frequently may feel like a foreign concept, but it's definitely not impossible, and frankly, I think we're about to see some nice support for the Metroid franchise as it's in, I think, its 37th anniversary. You know, they kind of missed that Metroid Prime they kind of missed that Metroid Prime anniversary last year, and then for some reason Shadow dropped it in February. That was weird. Aside from 2D Metroid, there is something I want to touch on. This is coming from Xbox Era. I guess they report stuff pretty often. I was unaware of this, but one of the hosts on Xbox Era, which is a very popular Xbox podcast, and it would actually make sense that they might know something given their roots with Western development if they cover Xbox. Of course, Retro Studios is based in Austin, Texas. According to Nick Baker, the founder of Xbox Era, and his inside sources, the game is visually beautiful and incredible. He continued that the game is not an open world work, but has huge areas similar to Halo Infinite. So, I actually have not played Metroid Prime 2 or 3. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a huge Metroid Prime fan. 2D Metroid is where I like to stay, though I will be playing 2 and 3 when they do come to Switch, assuming they come to Switch. But, I mean, this is pretty exciting. I think some people were worried they might try to rock the boat and do something crazy with Metroid Prime 4, but I think making sure it's not open world is very important, and I think that's exciting, but just have huge sprawling areas, huge biomes. I mean, that just makes sense for Metroid. Maybe less corridors, you know, that'd be nice, but still give it that Metroid flavor, if you know what I'm saying. It's not much to work off of. He could be completely full of it. Who knows? But it's still exciting to think that, I mean, maybe someone's seen Metroid Prime 4, someone who is not working on the game. That's exciting. Hopefully we get more information soon in this upcoming September Nintendo Direct. Once again, if that happens, I think we're all in agreement it probably will happen, though. So, yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of MercurySteam already likely being at work on Metroid 6, the follow-up to Metroid Dread? What do you think it could be plot-wise? And what do you think of Metroid Prime 4 maybe not being open world like a lot of us have maybe considered? That is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I really do appreciate the support. And until next time, folks, peace.